What would you do if the child you sacrificed everything for decided you were too embarrassing to exist? If the son you fed while skipping meals yourself erased you from his life with a single lie? Caleb Sullivan had told his future in-laws that his mother died years ago. He believed the past could be buried as easily as an old photograph. But he was wrong. Very wrong, because his mother was not dead. She was standing just a few miles away, very much alive, scrubbing floors so spotless they reflected the faces of people who would never look at her. Patty Sullivan woke up every morning before the world remembered how to breathe. At 3:45 a.m., her alarm rang out of habit, not necessity. She was already awake, staring at the cracked ceiling of her aging trailer in Spencer, Indiana. Sleep had become a stranger long ago. Her feet touched the cold linoleum as she rose quietly, as if even the walls were tired of hearing her struggle. Outside, darkness clung to the town like a secret no one wanted to admit. Patty whispered a short prayer, not for miracles, just for strength. By 4:20 a.m., she was in her battered Ford Taurus, its engine groaning like an old man forced out of bed. 2 hours of driving awaited her. 2 hours to the wealthy suburb where she cleaned houses that cost more than she would earn in a lifetime. The radio played softly. A country song about betrayal. Patty let out a tired, humorless smile. If only they knew. At exactly 6:15, she parked in front of a mansion with white columns and brick walls polished to perfection. The owner barely acknowledged her presence, listing demands without meeting her eyes. Stains. Spills. A mess from last night's party. Patty nodded. She always nodded. For 8 hours, she scrubbed, bent, stretched, and knelt. Her hands, rough, cracked, scarred by years of chemicals, moved with practiced precision. Each movement reminded her where she stood in this world: useful, invisible, replaceable. By evening, she returned to her trailer with aching knees and a burning back. But her day was far from over. At the small kitchen table, under the weak glow of a flickering lamp, Patty unfolded bright pink fabric. A prom dress. Another promise kept for someone else's child. Her old sewing machine hummed steadily, the sound filling the silence she had learned to live with. Then the phone rang. Her heart lifted instantly. Caleb. Her voice softened, warmed by a love that never learned to protect itself. But her son's voice was different. Cold. Distant. He didn't ask how she was. He didn't ask if she was tired. He told her she was not welcome at his wedding, not because of money, not because of distance, but because she embarrassed him. Her clothes. Her voice. Her existence. He told her she would ruin everything, and when she begged, quietly, humbly, as only a mother can, he ended the call. The silence that followed was louder than any scream. Patty sat there, phone in hand, staring at the dress she would never finish. Then she reached into a drawer and pulled out an old notebook. Its pages were worn, its cover scarred. She opened it and wrote one sentence: 1 year from today. Something inside her changed, not anger, not hatred, something colder, something unbreakable. Rehook. What Patty writes next will turn an invisible cleaning woman into the most dangerous guest at a wedding built on lies. 2 weeks passed after the call that erased her existence. 2 weeks where Patricia Sullivan barely slept. Pain still lived in her chest, but it no longer controlled her. It had transformed into something sharper, focused. Every morning, she woke before dawn, cleaned mansions that smelled like privilege, and listened more than she spoke. Because invisible people hear everything, the first crack in Caleb's perfect story came on a Tuesday. Patty had been assigned to a new house, larger than the rest, guarded by tall iron gates and trimmed hedges so perfect they looked artificial. The Sterling residence. She recognized the name immediately. This was not coincidence. She had made sure of that. As she wiped marble floors that cost more than her trailer, voices drifted from a nearby room. The door was slightly open. She did not move closer. She didn't have to. Caleb's background worries me, your woman said, her tone sharp with control. He came from nothing, and people like that don't forget how to take. Patty's hands froze on the mop handle. Another voice, younger, uncertain. He said his mother passed away years ago. A small laugh followed. Cold. Dismissive. How convenient. Patty lowered her head and continued cleaning, every word carving itself into her memory. Her son had not only erased her, he had rewritten her into a lie that made him acceptable. Later that afternoon, while scrubbing a bathroom, she heard the woman's voice again, this time on the phone. Yes. I want everything. Family records. Financial history. Debts. If he lied about his mother, what else is he hiding? A private investigator, Patty understood something in that moment. The truth was already circling Caleb. And lies, once cornered, don't disappear quietly. That evening, as she packed her supplies, another woman approached her in the kitchen. Short, warm-faced, wearing an apron stained with years of service. I'm Dorothy, as she said kindly. I cook here. Patty nodded politely, ready to leave, but Dorothy lingered. That man your boss keeps talking about, as she said carefully, lowering her voice. Caleb. There's something off about him. Patty said nothing. He treats people like us like we don't exist, Dorothy continued. Last week he yelled at me over a drop of sauce. The words hit Patty harder than any insult Caleb had thrown directly at her. Because now she knew, this wasn't fear or pressure. This was who her son had chosen to become. When Dorothy finally asked, do you know him? Patty hesitated. For the first time since the phone call, she spoke the truth out loud. He's my son. Dorothy's face drained of color. Oh God, as she didn't ask for proof. She didn't question it. She simply wrapped Patty in a tight, shaking hug. They think we're invisible, Dorothy whispered. But we're not. That night, in Patty's small trailer, two women sat at a kitchen table lit by a flickering bulb. Between them lay a simple truth. The wealthy see only what they want, and servants hear everything they forget to hide. I don't want revenge, Patty said quietly. I want him to face the truth, in front of everyone who believed his lies. Dorothy nodded. Then you won't be alone. From that moment on, the plan began, not loudly, not dramatically, but the way real power always does. In whispers. In routines. In overlooked corners, the invisible were aligning, and Caleb had no idea how many eyes were now watching him. Rehook as secrets multiply and alliances form in silence. Patty prepares a gift that no amount of money can undo, and the wedding day draws closer. By the third week, the plan no longer felt like an idea. It felt inevitable. Patty moved through her days with quiet precision, the way she always had, except now every action carried purpose. Every floor she cleaned, every hallway she passed through, every conversation she overheard became another thread in a web no one saw forming. Information flowed toward her effortlessly. Dorothy watched the kitchen. A gardener listened near the back terrace. A young DJ, Dorothy's nephew, handled sound systems and screens for the upcoming wedding. None of them were important enough to question. That was the mistake point. One afternoon, while Patty polished silverware in the dining room, the mistress of the house rushed out to answer a phone call, leaving her office door slightly open. A thin folder lay on the desk. Patty did not rush. She did not stare. She passed once. Then again, when Dorothy appeared with a tray of dishes, she whispered, go clean upstairs. 20 minutes later, in the supply closet beneath the stairs, Dorothy pressed folded papers into Patty's hands. The investigator's report. It was worse than Patty expected. Every lie was documented. Every erased detail written in cold professional language. Mother, alive. Occupation, domestic cleaner. Residence, Spencer, Indiana. Subject falsely claimed maternal death to multiple parties. But what shattered Patty wasn't the lies about money or class. It was the section marked character assessment. Is subject displays calculated attachment from family. willingness to falsify identity to secure social and financial advantage. Caleb had not panicked. He had chosen. That night, Patty sat alone at her kitchen table. Spread before her were old photographs she had kept hidden for years. Caleb at 8 years old, selling newspapers. At 12, helping her clean houses on weekends. At 16, smiling in a borrowed suit after winning a scholarship, she opened a blank album slowly, carefully. She began placing the photos inside. Next to each one, she wrote dates. Facts. Sacrifices: sold my wedding ring to buy antibiotics, worked double shifts so he could attend field trips, missed graduation to pay for his suit. This was not revenge, this was evidence. The phone rang just after midnight. It was Dorothy. Is something happened? Is she whispered. Caleb and his future mother-in-law argued tonight. She confronted him. Patty closed her eyes. About me? Is she asked. Yes. About you being dead. Dorothy hesitated before adding, they're planning something. If you appear, they'll say you're unstable. An imposter. An embarrassment trying to ruin their day. Patty felt no fear, only clarity. Good, as she said softly. The next day, Caleb arrived unannounced at her trailer. He looked around like the air itself offended him. I need documents, he demanded. Birth records. Social papers. Not please. Not thank you. As he picked up an old framed photo and tossed it face down, the glass cracked. Something broke inside Patty too, but it wasn't her heart. It was her hesitation. When he left, she opened her notebook and wrote a new list. Necessary allies. Final timing, delivery method. Phase 1 was over. Phase 2 had begun. Because if they wanted her dead, she would resurrect herself in front of everyone. Rehook. As the wedding approaches, Patty sacrifices everything one last time, setting the stage for a revelation no one can silence. The final week before the wedding arrived with a calm so unnatural it felt staged. Patty noticed it immediately. Calls stopped coming. Caleb didn't show up again. No threats. No apologies. Silence. The kind people use when they believe the problem has already been handled. That silence told her everything. They weren't afraid anymore, which meant they thought she had lost. Patty continued her routine, but every step now carried weight. She resigned from 2 cleaning houses, not dramatically, just quietly. One by one, she sold what little she owned. The old sewing machine. The second-hand television. Even the wedding ring she had once promised herself she'd pass down someday. She needed only 3 things now: proof, timing, and a voice no one could mute. Dorothy handled the invitations, the DJ handled the screens, and Patty handled the hardest part, letting go. 2 days before the ceremony, she mailed a package to the wedding venue. No return address. Inside was a simple USB drive labeled a family tribute. On the morning of the wedding, Patty did not wear black. She wore blue. A modest dress, pressed carefully. Clean shoes. Hair pulled back neatly. No drama. No disguise. Just herself, refined by years of endurance. She arrived early, before guests filled the chapel. No one stopped her. People like Patty were expected to be there, working quietly behind the scenes. She stood near the back as violins played and laughter filled the air. Candles flickered. White flowers lined the aisle. Caleb stood at the altar, flawless in his tailored suit. He never looked back. The ceremony began smoothly. Vows were exchanged. Smiles were forced. Applause followed on cue. Then came the reception. As glasses clinked and the MC announced her special surprise tribute prepared by the groom. The lights dimmed. Caleb's smile froze. The screen lit up. A child appeared. 8 years old. Newspaper bag slung over his shoulder. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The images shifted. School photos, handwritten notes, hospital bills, late night sewing. Worn hands holding small victories together. A calm voice filled the room, not angry, not loud, steady. This is my son. I raised him alone. I cleaned houses so he could sit in classrooms. I skipped meals so he could dream bigger than the world we lived in. Caleb turned toward the booth, panic flashing across his face. Guests whispered. His bride looked at him, truly looked at him, for the first time. Then came the final slide, a mother, alive. Patty stepped forward, not toward the altar, toward the truth. I didn't come to ruin this day, as she said calmly. I came to correct a lie. Security hesitated. No one moved because the lie was already exposed. She placed the album on the gift table and turned away. No shouting. No collapse. Just silence heavy enough to crush a kingdom built on denial. As she walked out, sunlight met her at the door. For the first time in years, Patty felt light because whatever happened next, she had already won. Rehook. But what happens after the truth is revealed shocks everyone, including Patty herself. The room didn't explode after Patty left. It imploded. At first, no one spoke. The music never resumed. The candles kept burning as if nothing had happened, mocking the frozen smiles and unfinished drinks. People avoided each other's eyes, suddenly unsure who they were standing beside. Caleb stood motionless. His bride was the first to move. She didn't cry. She didn't shout. She simply removed her hand from his, slowly, as if touching him any longer might stain her. The silence between them said what words never could. I asked you one thing, she said quietly. The truth. Caleb opened his mouth, but nothing came out that could survive the by the end of the night. The wedding was over in every way that mattered. Guests left early. Whispers followed them into the parking lot. Phones lit up with messages that would never be erased. The next morning, the story spread, not as gossip, but as fact. The investigators' report surfaced. So did records. So did questions. Partnerships hesitated. Investors pulled back. A man who could erase his own mother suddenly seemed capable of erasing anything. Caleb tried to call Patty once, twice, then many times. She never answered, not because she hated him, but because her story no longer needed his response to be complete. Weeks passed. Patty moved out of the trailer. Not into anything grand, just a small, sunlit apartment near a community center. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere hers. She found work teaching basic sewing skills to women who reminded her of herself years ago. Tired hands. Heavy stories. Hope hiding in practical dreams. One afternoon, Dorothy visited, holding a folded newspaper. Patty smiled before she even read it. The article wasn't cruel. It wasn't dramatic. It was factual. A prominent consultant resigns amid questions of integrity. No names were needed. Later that evening, Patty sat by her window, watching the sun settle into the horizon. She opened her notebook one last time. The same one that had started everything. She turned to the page that read, 1 year from today. She drew a line through it, then she wrote something new. I'm not invisible. A phone rang, unknown number. This time, she answered. Caleb's voice was smaller than she remembered. I was wrong, he said. I don't expect forgiveness. I just, wanted you to know. Patty closed her eyes. I know, she replied gently. And that's why I did what I did. There was a pause. Will you ever forgive me? He asked. Patty looked around her small apartment, at the light, the quiet, the life she had reclaimed. I already did, she said. But forgiveness doesn't mean erasing consequences. The call ended, and for the first time, Patty felt no weight linger afterward, because this story was never about punishment. It was about truth. Years later, when someone asked her what she did for a living, Patty smiled and said, I raised a son. And when he forgot where he came from, I reminded the world. Some stories end with applause. Hers ended with peace. And that was more than enough. Clapperboard end message. A final moral. Never mistake silence for weakness. The people you overlook are often the ones carrying the truth.